What do you need to know about the NAR settlement? I know there's a lot of real estate agents who are freaking out all across the country right now, and there's a lot of misinformation that's going on out there. And so let's talk about what you really need to know about the changes that are coming, the changes that were made to the commissions based on what the DOJ wants the changes to be. So here's the thing. There was a lawsuit, there were a few lawsuits that ended up settling, and the settlement was that buyers would now pay their own commission and sellers would pay their own commission. That was part of the settlement agreement. That was the original problem that came up. So there were lawsuits regarding agents potentially forcing sellers to pay for buyers' commission. Although, this has been going on since real estate started. So I find it amazingly hard to believe that anybody was conspiring to get over on people, right? And let me share with you the benefits of it. The benefits of the seller paying the commission is that we have more buying power for our middle class. Real estate has actually been a really big part of keeping our middle class in this country. Most Americans who've made millions of dollars have usually made it in real estate. 3 out of 4 have either made it in real estate or have their money in real estate. And so real estate has been a wonderful opportunity for people to make really good money. But now, if you change the buying power of the buyers, right? So now not only does a buyer have to pay for down payment of their property, they have to come in with cash to pay for their closing costs. And now on top of that, they have to pay their agent. So the seller can still pay, the buyer potentially might pay. There is so much confusion going on. So let me break it down for you in the simplest of terms. Here's how it works. And I am in California. My business has been in Los Angeles on the Sunset Strip. So I'm talking specifically about California, although you can find out exactly how it's changed in your state just by simply talking to the Association of Realtors. I call the California Association of Realtors. I call the attorneys all the time if I have questions. They're wonderful resources for you. You should be utilizing them no matter what state you're in, just for the record. Okay, so here's the deal. Sellers now have the option to either pay for the commission for the buyers or put the commission on the buyer side, and the buyer has to be responsible to pay for their agent. So how does this translate in the industry? How does this work on a regular day-to-day potential listing? Well, here's the thing. Now you're not going to know what's going on with that listing. You're not going to know what they're offering to the buying side because now the DOJ thought it would be a great idea to not show that to anybody. So how do you know if the seller's paying a commission? How do you know if you have to get the commission from your buyer? Well, first and foremost, let me address this because this is really important. So you're not going to know whether you are having to get the commission from your buyer or whether the seller is going to pay that commission. Now, you can always call the agent. You can always find out that way. You can always make an inquiry. And at the same time, that would be on a case-by-case basis. So how do you protect yourself with the buyer-broker agreement? Well, the way it works is you would want to protect yourself with a buyer-broker agreement that states that if the seller isn't paying commission, this would be what the buyer would pay in terms of commission. And if you have that in writing in a buyer agreement, and you identify the properties that you have shown to the potential buyer, then you are covered, right? Because you're either going to get the commission from the seller, or if the seller's not paying the commission, then you're going to be able to get it from the buyer. Now, that's not always realistic to be able to get that signed by the buyer. So what is the suggested way of being able to accomplish this? Here's the thing. Nobody knows. I want you to start with that basis. Nobody knows what the answer is going to be. The DOJ has now halted all of the association's paperwork associated with buyer agreements because they're not happy about them. They're not happy about how they're structured. So it's impossible for us at this point to know exactly how this is going to translate in the real estate market. The one thing that you can be sure of, if you're a new agent, or you've been in the business for a certain amount of time and you want to create a successful business for yourself, it will always be with sellers. I only coach real estate agents to focus on seller listings. Why? Because that's where all the power is. Why else? Because people are telling you that you can't be a listing agent at the beginning of your career. And I'm telling you that you can be a listing agent right at the beginning of your career. As long as you're trained properly and you follow the process and you're talking to sellers in a geographic farm or expireds or for sale by owners, your focus is on talking to sellers. That's where you create the focus. And when you start to build out your database with sellers and you stay in touch with them on a regular basis, then you're going to create a pipeline of leads for yourself. Now, why is that possible? Because this is something no one's going to tell you in real estate. Between 50 and 80% of the homeowners are what we call orphans in real estate, meaning that the agent who represented them on the buying side never stayed in touch. So if 50 to 80% of people in a geographic farm or homeowners in general, 50 to 80% don't have an agent that would represent them when they go to sell their home. That's why it's wide open for you as a new agent to be able to start to build those relationships, start to create a farm for yourself, and focus on sellers. Because it's going to take you just as long to focus on buyers as it is to focus on sellers. And when you focus on buyers, as we're moving forward, you have no certainty. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're not sure how that's going to translate. Now, the biggest piece of all of this that I want to share with you is I always focus on sellers because when you have listings, the buyers come to you, right? Listings are leverage, listings are power. And especially with the way the changes are happening in the commissions, I believe that that would create more opportunity for a buyer to go directly to a listing agent and see if they can get a discount that way. Now, the reality is this, they're going to lose money, not make money, because no one's explaining it to them the right way. You want to focus on sellers and not on buyers, because if your focus is on buyers, you're going to be in chaos. You're not going to know what the results are, and you're not going to know what the changes are that are going to be coming. When you're focused on sellers, you have absolutely all the knowledge you need, all the control you need. You can create a pipeline of leads and you can create a massive amount of leverage for yourself. So if you're an agent and you're in a situation where people are telling you you can't be a listing agent right now, or you need to focus on buyers first and then they'll become your sellers, you should get away from that situation. You should run away as quickly as possible. You know, Real Momentum, our focus is really to support agents in becoming listing agents right away from the beginning of their career, in focusing on sellers and building relationship with homeowners. That's where the power is. That's where the magic happens. And when you do this, you see amazing results. So my suggestion is focus on sellers always. Be aware of the changes that are coming, although nobody can tell you what they are because we're not even sure yet. And the DOJ is not even sure yet. So there are going to be more changes along the way. There are going to be more difficulties on the buyer side of the transaction as we're moving forward, trying to figure all this out. One thing's for certain, as a listing agent, you're not going to have any of these problems, right? You are going to be in control of the market. You're going to be in control of what's happening, and you're going to be in control of your business, most importantly. Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you is we are moving into a market that is the most opportune time to create listing agents that I've ever seen in the history of real estate. So if you're a new agent getting into this business, you have the opportunity to become a listing agent right away and to create massive market share for yourself. Check out Real Momentum, like us, come join us, join the movement at Real Momentum.